As President Trump and his team prepare for their brutal swing through Asia in a meeting with President Xi, China's decided to try to up the ante by bullying companies planning on doing big investments in the United States. Trump's trade rep, who's headed to Asia tomorrow, responded this way. Attempts at intimidation will not stop the United States from rebuilding its shipbuilding base and responding appropriately to China's targeting of critical industrial sectors for dominance. Well, for his part, President Trump seemed eager to smooth things out today.
I expect to be able to make a good deal with him, and I want him to make a good deal for China, but it's got to be fair. For years, they were making $500, $600, $700 billion, $700 billion, and we'd be making nothing. It was a one-sided. Honestly, we built their military. We built China's military with the money that we lost for so many years.
He's right about that. Here to discuss right before he leaves, and he's all packed, Jamieson Greer, U.S. Trade Rep. Mr. Ambassador, great to see you. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be a brutal trip for you. China seemed very threatened by this move of Trump's to rebuild U.S. shipbuilding, specifically China targeting Hanwha, the Korean shipbuilding company that's going to put a big investment in the United States. What next here?
Well, I mean, listen, early on in the administration, the president was very clear that he wanted to rebuild American shipping and that we need to have some portion of the global market. And that's why the president's doing everything he does. He's not trying to antagonize any country or hurt anybody. He's trying to put America first. And so it's just unconscionable that China thinks that if someone's going to come here to America and help rebuild shipping, they're going to take a sanction against them. Will
this Korean company back down at all?
So I don't think so. They're invested here. They've already invested in our shipyard in Philadelphia. They've already taken orders for ships, for LNG carriers, the kind of stuff we should be exporting. So I'm not worried about that.
We got a lot of catch up to do in the shipbuilding, do we not? I mean, we've kind of lost our dominance in that. And also the U.S. and Australia, it was a big deal this week signing this rare earths agreement just yesterday after China announced that rare earths export control. And in a statement, the Chinese embassy denied that it was to blame for any rare earth disruption in the global marketplace, saying that the global industrial supply chains came into shape as a result of the choices of the market and businesses. Countries with mineral resources need to play a positive role in keeping relevant industrial and supply chains safe and stable and to ensure normal trade and economic cooperation. How do you deal with these people? They put the export controls in place, and now they're essentially blaming the United States.
Right. And this is technology with respect to the rare earth. It's technology that the U.S. invented and pioneered 60 years ago. And China was able to have some of that transfer of technology, which was a mistake, turns out. And so it's completely normal for us, obviously, in the face of Chinese export controls, to diversify and develop other sources. And so, again, we get these word salads coming out of Beijing of trying to justify what they've done. No one's fooled. Everybody knows. It's not just the U.S., it's the EU, it's Japan, it's Australia. Everyone is sick of it.
So you're going ahead before the president arrives in these countries. How have your meetings gone thus far with your Chinese counterparts?
Well, I will say they are certainly cordial. Every time we show up and they show up, there's interest in trying to be constructive.
But there was one guy at the WTO who Scott Bessent said was the troublemaker, and I heard that he's out in China.
Well, he was at the WTO, then he was a vice minister. Yeah. I think he's still on the team. But our focus is trying to do what's right for America. This is not an issue where we're trying to hurt China or make them lose. I mean, that's just not what we're doing. Like, the Chinese motivations, obviously, are totally different.
Well, isn't there motivation, speaking of that, isn't there motivation global dominance in every key industrial sector? That was the whole point of the Belt and Road Initiative, was it not? So this idea that, if China rises, everybody rises, this rare earth move on their part shows that's not the case.
That's right. And it's no secret, right? They've published these plans with the Belt and Road, also Made in China 2025. They've been telegraphing for years. And to be honest, American policymakers are partially at fault. But fundamentally, the Chinese have said for a long time they've telegraphed exactly what they're going to do. And it's up to the president and frankly, a lot of our allies, if they have the spine for it, to stand up to this and to make sure that we can be independent with respect to these critical sectors.
They're flooding Europe and other economic sectors with their excess capacity. They have so many factories humming, so much being produced in these factories. but now not as much being bought here in the United States, which is the biggest marketplace. Europe seems to now be saying, whoa, we got to take measures here because it's destroying European businesses. Is Germany finally waking up to what's about to happen or what is happening to their auto industry?
So I think so. Like, for example, with steel, as you know, we've taken measures on imported steel and have for many years. The Europeans finally are doing that. The Canadians are doing that. We're seeing the Mexicans doing that. We saw the Europeans announce about 20 anti-dumping cases against Chinese imports.
Dumping excess capacity below market value.
Yes, that's exactly right. So we see them starting to do this. You know, it's always been the case that America has to take the first step. We have a bias for action, and then eventually the others come along when they see it affecting them.
Is there a possibility that we have no deal out of this trip? Because I prefer no deal. I think they're being hurt now, and I'm sorry, but I think the only way China changes is if they suffer economically, just like the former Soviet Union. So why do we need a deal if the tariffs are working so well?
Well, if there's a deal to be had, the president will find it, to be sure. Do we have to have a deal? It has to be a fair deal, right? Is there a landing zone with China? I mean, notionally, yes, but it has to be fair, which is what the president said. And if there's not a fair deal, then there's not a deal.
Mr. Ambassador, good luck on this trip. We'll be covering it day by day, and it'll be the middle of the night.